For 30 years, inclusion has been a hot topic in New Brunswick. Debates between parents and school officials have raged over the placement of children with disabilities. But now New Brunswick is trying to include children with disabilities in the classrooms at all times. The question remains clear: is this the best method of teaching children with severe disabilities like autism? Corinne Frost has the story.
I said we're not doing homework. How come?
Because it's too hard for me.
It's too hard for you. Why is it hard?
Because it is very hard. I can't do it.
Ethan is in grade 2. He has many friends and he likes to read. He also has velocardiofacial syndrome. This causes a delay in his motor skills, and he has difficulty learning things like math. It also means he has trouble keeping up with his classmates.
He's expected to put on his own clothes and stuff when he gets out of swimming, and he can't do it. He comes home with no socks. He comes home without half of his stuff, and he's worried that they're going to leave him there because it takes him a long time to get dressed because he can't do it on his own.
Parents like Frost have many problems with the way their children are being handled by the school system. They feel children with disabilities aren't always getting the care and attention they need in and out of the classroom. But members of the school district, like Dan Leonard and Jody Gorham, think the system is doing its job to help out kids like Ethan.
Means that regardless of a student's abilities or disabilities, they all have the opportunity to attend their neighborhood school and to participate in classes with their peers. So it really doesn't matter if a child has a disability. We will provide the support they require in order to be able to participate in the classroom.
Gorham said it is really only the parents who seem to have a problem with inclusion. Other children accept the kids who have disabilities. But Lana Thompson, an early intervention therapist and a mother of an autistic child, says many parents still have fears about sending their children into the school system.
So a lot of these kids aren't ready. So for Maya, I had that huge anxiety that I don't want to send my kid into the school system when she's cognitively about 15 months old. Yeah. So now she goes to school with other kids, and luckily she's like any other younger child. She's trying to keep up with them. So that is the positive thing about school, is that she's actually wanting to stay with them.
And the district officials agree.
Students do better when they have an opportunity to be with their peers, that they're in a heterogeneous situation, that kids learn from one another, and that if they have good models, they learn more. So if you segregate students and you put a lot of children in a room who have cognitive difficulties or physical difficulties or behavioral difficulties, they don't have good models to learn from.
And while Ethan still has difficulties with some subject areas, his mother just discovered that what bothers him the most at school takes place during free time, not class time.
The thing that you don't like at school, that's your math and your social studies?
And the part I hate to sit in grade primary seat.
You hate to sit in a grade primary seat. What is that?
At lunch.
At lunch? Oh, you have to sit with the primaries in grade
Yeah.
at lunch hour? How come?
Because Sharon won't let me sit with my friends.
Who won't let you sit with your friends?
Sharon.
Sharon?
Yeah.
Who's she?
She's an old woman.
Grade primaries are children just starting school at the age of 5. These kids are roughly 3 years younger than Ethan. When asked about the issue, school board members said they realized that the system isn't perfect.
One of the issues we have a challenge with, in a perfect world, he'd be able to eat with his peers. But we do have to supervise students. Some students have difficulties that require an adult to be close by, and for their safety or the safety of others. And of course, when that's the case, then, you know, and those support staff members have to have lunch too, sometimes you have to double up. And therefore, in order to provide the supervision, it sometimes means that the students are segregated.
Sometimes over 30 or 40 kids to watch within a system. And that's a lot of kids to try to meet and write programs for. So I think that the New Brunswick government has done an amazing job with providing the school system providing children with autism and providing families with trained workers, and we're a lot further ahead than some provinces. So we have to be very thankful for what we have. Is there room to grow? Yes, there's room to grow.
Thompson also explained that there's nowhere for these autistics to go after high school. She said after the age of 21, the province deals with these young adults by sending them to an institute in Maine where the family has to pay a large amount of money to have them taken care of, or they end up in nursing homes. The issue with nursing homes is that staff there aren't trained to deal with autistics, they're trained to deal with older adults. So because of this, the school system and early intervention services are really trying to help the kids out, regardless of what parents may think. For Stu Journalism in Fredericton, I'm Corinne Frost.
There's trouble brewing for the local microbreweries in Fredericton. NB Liquor has introduced a cheaper alternative onto the market that has some people in an uproar, saying this is bad for business in the province. Matt Robertson is on the steps of the legislature with the story.
Thanks, Megan. I'm standing here on the steps of the legislature where only recently NB Liquor had a plan approved to sell their own beer. What they did was they set up a crown corporation called Selection Lager, which is currently the cheapest selling beer in New Brunswick at $18.67 for 12 cans. Originally, this was brought apart because people were going to Quebec to buy cheap beer and NB Liquor was losing sales. So you might think this might affect the microbreweries in the area because they have to sell their product at a bigger cost, like Picaroons and Pump House. What they do is they sell a quality product, but they have to sell it for more because they don't have the volume that these big companies do. I was talking to restaurant owner Doug Williams. He owns the Garrison Ale House down on Queen Street. And what he said to me was that these probably won't suffer, these microbreweries, because they make a superior product and people are willing to pay for that. I also talked to City Councillor Jordan Graham here in Fredericton, and what he said to me was that if I own a business, this is akin to the government opening up the same business and me having to compete with them. So this could be a problem. But since it's cheap beer, you know, for students it means they'll be able to put the few dollars they save towards something productive, like their education. For Stu Journalism, I'm Matt Robertson here in Fredericton.
I think it's kind of bad for small businesses. It's not really going to help them out at all. I'm kind of against it for those reasons.
I think it's a really bad idea because I find the breweries will suffer from this. You know, they'll lose out on a lot of money.
I'm great with anything that saves me, even if it's $1 or $2.
I think it's great. I think it's a great thing that the province is finally doing whatever they can to get the city drunk.
I don't like it because it tastes like watered down Alpine.
Any other reason?
Nope, it just sucks.
I actually don't drink liquor, so I have to say that anyone who brews liquor is kind of bad.
Fredericton residents gained an opportunity to embrace Spanish culture this Saturday. The annual Latin Festival was held at the University of New Brunswick. Guitar singers from Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and from other Latin countries all performed at Spanish Night Live. The Latin Undergraduate Association, conjointly with King and Queen of Salsa New Brunswick, organized this festival. The goal of the festival is to share Spanish music and culture with Fredericton residents.
Hi, I'm Carolina and I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and I'm at the Spanish Night Live, and I think it's really cool because it exposes Canadians to music they normally wouldn't listen to.
The Spanish Night Live is held every year in the spring.
We'll be back with more Basement Tape